Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be looking at the chain rule. So the chain rule is a way to help differentiate equations which you may not have been able to otherwise, or a quicker way to do it. So it seems a bit abstract when you first learn the rule. However, once you see a few examples, you'll see how it's used and you'll see its implications. So the actual chain rule is that dy dx is equal to du over dy over du times du over dx. So a few things just before I talk about the rule. When I've been talking about, let's say, y is equal to 2x squared, and then y dash or f dash is equal to 4x, the derivative, what I'm saying is there is dy dx, so that's like the shorthand for dy dx is equal to 4x. So that's the derivative. And what the derivative is saying is the derivative of y, so the top term is what we're talking about, so derivative of y with respect to x. So that's like with and so what that means is we're differentiating with regards to x. And that's why when we've been doing it, we've had like axn and then an times xn minus 1. So basically most of the time we're always going to derive with respect to x. However, you can do it with others. So this dy du is saying differentiate y, so whatever y is, with not with respect to x, but with respect to u. And obviously there's no u terms, then it's just a constant, so it's going to equal 0. However, with this example, we're going to let u equal something. So we have dy over dx is equal to dy over du times du over dx. And the way I remember this is that if you think about those cancelling, then we have dy over dx is equal to dy over dx. So that's a good way to check if you've got the chain rule correct, is that you should have a du on the bottom and a du on the top. Of course, u is just an abstract letter that we use, however it could be any other letter. So we could say dy over dx is equal to dy over dz times dz over dx. So it's easiest to look at an example. So if you want to differentiate this, fx is equal to x minus 2 squared. So if you look at the previous way we've calculated it, would say that y is equal to, we'll expand this out, we'll say x squared minus 4x plus 4, and then therefore dy over dx is equal to 2x minus 4. You could take out 2 as a common factor and we get 2x minus 2. However, with the chain rule, we can do this without expanding. Obviously this was pretty quick, but if we had a more complicated numbers, then expanding, or even to, like, to say the power 5 to the power 6, then expanding it would become very cumbersome, and then simplifying it once again. So I'm going to let u equal x minus 2. So what I've done here is I've let u equal a number such that I'm going to get y is equal to u squared. So u squared is obviously, we can differentiate that with respect to u. So if you imagine that was x squared, then we could work that out pretty simply. So I've let u equal a number such that I'm going to get an equation like this. So that means dy over du is equal to 2 times u, 2 minus 1 is equal to 2u. You can see that. Imagine if it was at the start. So imagine it's x. Y is equal to x squared. Therefore, dy over dx would equal 2x. So now you just need to do it with u. So u squared, x squared. But with the final answer, we're going to get it with respect to u. So here we've got dy over du. It's not dy over dx. It's dy over du is equal to 2u. Then we need to find du over dx. So that is just x minus 2, and then differentiate that. We get x to the 1. We bring the 1 down, then we go 1 minus 0, so we get 1 minus 1, which gives us 1 times x to the 0, which is equal to 1. So we get 1, and then that's a constant, so it's plus 0. So we get du dx is equal to 1. Just going to rub this off to get more room. Then, using the chain rule, so dy over dx is equal to dy over du times du over dx. So quickly check you got it right, du cancels, we get dy dx. This is equal to 2 times u, So we've already worked that out, summing that in. And then times that by 1. And then we're going to get 2u. But obviously when we want dy dx, we don't want it with respect to a random u. So we want it with respect to x. But we already know that u is equal to x minus 2. So then we just sub that value in. Then we can get that. Therefore, dy over dx is equal to 2x minus 2. And that's the same answer we got before. So that seems like it's a long way to do it, but it gets quicker the more times you've done it, as well as you can get more questions that are a lot complicated. So if we had a question such as this, doing that by the previous method would take a long time. So the first step is, what are we going to let u equal? Well, I'm going to let u equal 3x plus 4. And the reason for that is I'm going to therefore get y is equal to u to the 4. So we want to get in terms of a u to the n, which is pretty easy to differentiate. Therefore, I can work out what dy du is. That is 4u to the 3. So that's, bring the 4 down, 4 minus 1 is 3, so we get 4u to the 3. And then what does du dx equal? Well, we have 3x plus 4. So 3x, you bring the 1 down, we get 1 times 3. X, so 0 is just 1, so we get 3, plus the constant, so that's 0, so that's just equal to 3. Therefore, dy dx is equal to du dy over du times du over dx, which is just equal to 4 to the u3 times 3. We get 12u to the 3. Sub in what u is, then we can get dy dx is equal to 12, 3 to the x plus 4 to the power of 3. So the way you can sort of think about this is that you bring this number down, you're minusing 1 from it, then you're timesing it by the whatever's inside, and you differentiate that, and then you times it on the outside. So that's like a shorthand way to do it. However, it's good to understand the chain rule, as you have to use, may have to use it later as well, and it's a rule that if you're using the rule, you're never going to make a mistake. So if we've calculated that, we're using the same sort of method. So what about this question? I want you to try and have a go at this question using what we've done before. So pause the video and have a go. So the first step is, what did you let u equal? So you should, probably the easiest one to let u equal would be x squared minus 3. And the reason for this is therefore y is equal to u to the 3. So u to the 3. So then you should know, what does dy du equal? Well, 3 times u to the 3 minus 1. So that's 3u squared. And so we've calculated that. Then we need to also work out what du dx is. So what's du dx? Well, that's the derivative of this, which is 2x plus 0. So you bring the 2 down. So 2 minus 1 is 1, so we get 2x plus the constant, so it's just equal to 2x. So what does dy dx equal? Well, it's this number times that number, because of the rule, and then we're going to get 6x times u squared. We need to then sub in what u is, and we get dy over dx is equal to 6x times x squared minus 3 to the power of 2.